Tonight on 7 News, Iran in ruins. A devastating day 3 of Operation Epic Fury. A near miss for Australian troops in Dubai, their base hit by rocket fire. Fears of a fuel shortage spark a run-on at Victorian service stations. How the war could blow up grocery prices and cripple Melbourne's mortgage belt. Also an inferno emergency happening right now in Geelong. And here, Oscar Piastri's message to Victorians.
Live from Melbourne, this is 7 News with Peter Mitchell.
Good evening. There's been a dramatic escalation in the Middle East war, with America warning the hardest hits are yet to come, as Iran threatens to blow up more oil tankers. Missiles have rained down on both sides, and Westerners in more than a dozen countries are being told to get out now. It's also been revealed Australian troops survived an attack by Iranian drones on their base in the UAE. This is a live look at Beirut, smoke rising from the latest round of Israeli attacks. Chief reporter Chris Reason begins our coverage.
The capital of Iran under a modern-day blitz. Nothing untouchable. Missile after missile slams into the city. Nothing off limits. Tehran feeling the full force of Israel and American fury. The hospital struck. Incredibly, no one was injured. The US claiming the joint operation is ahead of schedule now. Day 3 ended with 1,200 total targets struck, hunting out Iran's military assets to cripple its nuclear ambitions and break its terrorising grip on the nation.
This was our last best chance to strike what we're doing right now and eliminate the intolerable threats posed by this sick and sinister regime.
But Iran's regime hangs on, battered, not yet broken, and able to inflict another day of revenge, firing back and punishing its regional neighbours, American allies. Attack drones striking the Al Manad Air Base in Dubai, a key facility for over 100 Australian troops based there. All were okay. In Saudi Arabia, the US embassy also attacked by drones. Assaults too on a critical oil refinery, one of the largest in the world. Iran is declaring war on global energy, issuing a warning they'll set fire to any ship trying to pass the crucial Straits of Hormuz. Tonight, it's effectively closed. New pictures in on the drone strike on the British airbase in Cyprus, Jordan, the UAE, Israel, all taking hits in the last 24 hours. The loss of life in the region pushing near 600. Confirmation the US has now lost 6 personnel since Epic Fury began on Saturday. In Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited the site where 9 died sitting in their shelter, declaring that this war is helping the world.
If they get nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them, ballistic missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, they will threaten all of humanity.
But his country's famous Iron Dome defence is stretched. It can stop 90% of the missiles, hunting them down in the sky. Here, 11 are chasing one of Iran's. They lock in on the target, but it can fail. A new front opened to the north, Lebanon, targeting Hezbollah through to Beirut after the terror group attacked Israeli villages. 52 killed, while thousands fled the barrage of missiles.
Is it gloves off now with Hezbollah?
Hezbollah made a great mistake, and they'll pay for that mistake.
The IDF's chief international spokesman tells 7 News this will not stop until the mission is done.
We're fighting for freedom, for stability, and it's an Israeli problem right now. It could be an Australian problem tomorrow.
But as we're filming...
Still evaluating the numbers.
Right.
Here's one.
Okay.
Here's one.
Okay.
Here's one.
Well, we appreciate your time. Are you coming with us?
Even a military base isn't safe from the threat. All of us forced to head for the bunkers.
The Israeli Defence Force told us here today that the regional spread of this war and its rapid spill into multiple countries came as no surprise, insisting they were not only expecting it, they were prepared for it.
It is an unpredictable war. 3 American fighter jets down. One spiralling out of control after being caught in friendly fire over Kuwait. All 6 specially trained pilots managed to escape safely.
You're safe.
Parachuting to the ground.
Thank you for helping us.
If Iran keeps retaliating, America is promising more to come.
The hardest hits are yet to come from the US military.
But what defines mission accomplished? No one seems able to say.
And let's get the latest from Chris Reason in Tel Aviv. Chris, there have been fresh hits on Lebanon.
Peter, the skyline between southern Lebanon and all the way up to Beirut is thick with black smoke this morning after another round of fresh attacks from the Israeli Air Force, pinpointing Hezbollah targets throughout that region. I asked that Israeli military spokesman yesterday whether or not there was a chance of a ground invasion. He refused to rule it in or out. I said to him, was there a chance that this operation could descend into the kind of chaos we saw 20 years ago after the Gulf War, 2003, he said the risks of inaction were far greater than the risks of taking action. That, of course, was before the entire interview had to be scrapped when another round of fresh missile warnings came through. Peter?
Chris Reason in Israel, thank you. Now to Rob Scott in Washington, D.C. And Rob, we're getting new information tonight on just how close Iran came to making nuclear weapons.
That's right, Peter. Steve Witkoff, who is Donald Trump's top negotiator, has revealed that in the very first meeting he had with the Iranians, they were boasting about the fact that they had 460 kilograms of enriched uranium, which he says was enough to make 11 nuclear bombs. He says that they were proud that they'd been able to avoid all sorts of protocols to get to that level. Witkoff says that that stockpile could have been raised to weapons grade within a week to 10 days. Now, he held 3 meetings with the Iranians trying to get them to agree to stop their nuclear enrichment program. He says by the end of just the second meeting, he knew that there would be no deal. All of this as Donald Trump reveals tonight that the United States has munition stores of its own enough to fight a forever war. At the White House, to a welcome of trombones and horns, the US president was trumpeting war.
We have the strongest and most powerful by far military in the world, and we will easily prevail.
Waxing lyrical about ballroom renovations.
I picked those drapes in my first term. Then when you hear all that hammering out there, you know why the First Lady is not thrilled exactly.
But it's the demolition of Iran, of which he's proudest right now. Honouring families of dead soldiers from wars of the past, as America's toll from Iran doubles to 6. That under a president on a campaign promise.
They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars.
And in the American heartland, not everyone's happy.
I think it's terrible. This could go on for years.
Are you trying to kill us? Are you trying to cause a World War III?
Today, from the Secretary of State, why America moved and why it moved now. Israel, he said, was going in anyway.
We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces, and we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties, and then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act.
And for the first time since the strikes began, we've heard from the Secretary of Defence, Pete Hegseth, who sought to allay fears that this would be another endless war in the Middle East, saying that this is not Iraq.
To the media outlets and political left screaming endless wars, stop. Our generation knows better, and so does this president.
The same from J.D. Vance, who surfaced today too.
There's just no way that Donald Trump is going to allow this country to get into a multi-year conflict with no clear end in sight.
But there are mixed messages from Trump and his team. The president wants Iranians to oust the regime.
Take over your government. It will be yours to take.
This is not a so-called regime change war.
And on the timeline,
4 to 5 weeks.
4 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 weeks. It could move up, it could move back.
Still, the defense secretary, a former soldier himself, came out guns blazing.
We'll go as far as we need to go violently. We set the terms. We fight to win, and we don't waste time. And we will kill you.
In Washington, D.C., Rob Scott, 7 News.
As the world watches the actions of the US and Israel, our government is in a tricky diplomatic position. It's been a juggling act for Anthony Albanese to spell out Australia's stance.
Against the backdrop of Emirates aircraft grounded from flying out to the Middle East, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney flies in to Sydney. For the Australian government, a like-minded leader on Iran, both countries insisting...
We support the US-led action here.
But with qualifications.
At its core, this is about preventing Iran from ever being able to acquire a deployable nuclear weapon.
Canada supports the United States acting to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon.
And to prevent Iran from continuing to threaten international peace and security.
Like-minded too on dodging questions on Donald Trump's other objective, forcing regime change in breach of international law.
It is for the US and Israel to explain the legal basis.
From Liberal Andrew Hastie.
War is one of those things that's very unpredictable.
Something his frontline role with the SAS in Afghanistan taught him.
It's a very high-risk strategy for President Trump, and we don't know which way it's going to go.
Mark Carney will address the Parliament here on Thursday. Canada's position, like Australia's, one of strategic ambiguity, all the way with Donald Trump, except when he's breaking international law, while other leaders aren't so subtle. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez condemns the US-led strikes as unjustified, banning the US from using joint bases in Spain, while Britain's Sir Keir Starmer backtracks, allowing the US to use Britain's Indian Ocean bases in Diego Garcia. But
we are not joining the US and Israeli offensive strikes.
And France's Emmanuel Macron increases his own stockpile of nuclear warheads, while in our region, Indonesia's Prabowo Subianto, the leader of the world's largest Muslim state, is offering to broker peace with Iran, something that tonight seems a long way away. Mark Riley, 7 News.
And fears of a fuel shortage have sparked a wave of panic buying across Melbourne. Geordie Wright is in Oakley this evening. Geordie, at least one station ran dry.
Mitch, and many are struggling to keep up with the demand. We've seen long queues at service stations right across the city. In Melbourne, cars were lined up down the road, with some even bringing jerry cans to fill up. And at Costco in Ardea, demand was so high, they actually ran out of 91 and 98 overnight as motorists took advantage of the $1.56 fuel. Prices like that are rapidly disappearing, and fuel is expected to shoot well above the $2 mark. And around most of the city, that change happened today. Tonight, the lowest price in Melbourne is $1.78, the most expensive $2.19, and the average is $2.05. There's even speculation it could go as high as $2.40. But petrol retailers have been put on notice not to price gouge. Treasurer Jim Chalmers has written to the competition watchdog asking it to watch the oil companies like a hawk. Mitch.
Geordie Wright at Oakley, thank you. The conflict has thrown travel plans into chaos for thousands of Australians, and the situation is changing by the hour. Laura Turner has the latest developments.
A handful of flights did take off from Abu Dhabi and Dubai last night, despite that airspace being closed. They were mainly cargo and repatriation flights with Etihad and Lufthansa, landing in a number of cities, including Amsterdam, Paris, Munich and London. Given the precarious security situation, these A380s took off and climbed fast. Air trackers showed them travelling at 3,000 feet per minute, which is double the usual speed. DFAT is now advising Australians not to travel to the UAE, and for those already there to shelter in place. Anyone in Israel, Iran, UAE or Qatar is encouraged to register with DFAT's crisis registration portal. Emirates and Qatar Airways still aren't taking off from that airspace either. Etihad is operating specially approved repatriation flights out of Abu Dhabi. The US has advised its citizens to immediately leave the region, though it's not offering evacuation flights. For Australians wanting to travel to Europe, the best bet is with Singapore Airlines, Cathay Pacific, or with one of the many Chinese airlines.
Laura Turner reporting, and Michael Usher is back with a 7 News special program tonight, bringing you all the breaking developments live from the Middle East. North Geelong has been choked by smoke as fire crews battled an out-of-control inferno at a wrecking yard. Gas bottles and cars went up in flames around 4 o'clock, with explosions and huge plumes of smoke reported in multiple 000 calls. Crews arrived to find a vehicle on the back of a truck on fire, with flames spreading to nearby gas bottles. An emergency warning was issued for the corner of Thompson Road and Armstrong Streets. A young thief has survived a death-defying crash in a stolen car in Melbourne's west before vanishing into the night. The force was so great it split the car in two, and wherever he is, police say he'll be badly injured.
On the loose and out of control in a stolen SUV. The young man crashing into a tree in Seabrook with so much force the vehicle split in two.
I actually thought it was two cars at first, and then the cops told me that it was one car.
I was scared for the driver.
I thought there's no way anyone could have walked out of that car.
But the driver did. Just 5 minutes earlier, the Toyota Kluger had been stolen in a carjacking at Laverton train station. Then 2 kilometres around the corner, his alleged joyride ended, his getaway did not.
For someone to apparently allegedly walk away, it's almost, just out of this world.
With the wreckage strewn everywhere, police brought in the sniffer dog, searching bushes and backyards, but still no luck.
It's incredible they couldn't find the driver last night. Apparently they still haven't found him.
They did come to my backyard. He had obviously fled, but where he went, nobody knows.
Not only is it a miracle anyone survived this crash, for one resident it's a miracle the Toyota hit this tree. If it hadn't been there, the SUV would have ploughed straight into his property. And this afternoon, police returned to search the area, still hunting this man who is likely seriously injured. Jordan Quinn, 7 News.
To breaking news now on a media bombshell. Kyle and Jackie O, radio's $200 million couple, are officially divorced, and he's been threatened with the sack. Jackie O has quit the program, claiming she can no longer work with Kyle. ARN has reacted by cancelling the show for good. The company says Sandiland's poor behaviour is an act of serious misconduct. He's been dragged off the air for a fortnight and told to clean up his behaviour. We're just 2 days away from the AFL season. Beck Maddern, the spotlight is already at the tribunal.
Certainly is, Peter. The Hawks were actually fighting a 1-game suspension to their newly appointed co-captain in Jai Newcombe for a dangerous tackle. Kate Massey has been following the hearing for us. Kate, it has just wrapped up. The verdict is in.
Play in the Hawks' season opener against the Giants this Saturday. The star midfielder was facing a 1-match suspension for this dangerous tackle on Bulldog Ed Richards. The tribunal deciding it was a dangerous tackle, but the impact should have been deemed low rather than medium because there was no injury and no expression of pain from Richards. Because of that, he's copped a fine instead and has been cleared to play. So good news for Hawks fans.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Kate. Also ahead in sport, 2 young Blues to debut in the Thursday night season opener. And Geelong coach Chris Scott has lashed out at the AFL over the treatment of one of his stars. Plus, a superstar on the world stage is coming to town. Exclusive. I'll have details shortly.
OK, thank you very much indeed, Beck. Jacinta Allen is doubling down on her new work-from-home laws. Next, the big change that's set to impact every Victorian. Also ahead on 7 News, justice for a postmaster's family after a service station spat turned deadly. Oscar Piastri's message to Melbourne as F1 organisers race to be ready for Sunday. And the best vantage points to see tonight's rare blood moon. Jane Bunn joins us live. A man has been jailed a second time for killing a postmaster at a country service station. A retrial found Troy Maskell guilty of the manslaughter of John Burke near Shepparton 3 years ago after he threw a 1 litre bottle of sports drink at the 73-year-old victim and kicked him. Maskell has been sentenced to 7 years and 9 months behind bars, but his minimum term is 3 years lower, and he could be eligible for parole in 7 months. The Premier's new work-from-home laws are shaping as a major election issue in the countdown to November. Jacinta Allen today doubled down on her stance, ruling out any exemptions for small businesses.
A hardline working from home stance threatening to push small businesses to the brink and potentially offshore.
This is almost feeling to me like I actually genuinely wanted to shut the business down.
We have borders, but businesses and capital don't.
Every Victorian business forced to allow their staff to work from home if possible. 2 days a week, no exemptions.
No matter the size of your workforce, whether you're in a small business or a big one.
I think it's ridiculously unfair that we're comparing a small business like mine to a huge corporation with thousands of employees.
This one cap fits all legislation, it won't work. It's as simple as that.
The hardline stance is vastly different from the position the Premier held last year. Jacinta Allen said she would consider exemptions for small businesses when first announcing the policy in August.
We've been consulting widely. This is about making sure that it's fair for everyone.
I think people are being consulted. I don't necessarily think that they've been heard.
The policy is a key pillar of Labor's re-election campaign. The government still can't detail how it will be legislated and whether it'll utilise the Equal Opportunity Act, brushing off suggestions of a High Court challenge.
We have advice that it is constitutionally valid.
Who does it apply to? What industry? Under what legislation? What's the appeal process? It's just a whole lot of questions at the moment.
Rochelle Brown, 7 News.
Grand Prix fans and organisers are now facing potential travel mayhem on 2 fronts. After flight delays caused by the Middle East crisis, there's now local transport disruption too.
Preparations full throttle at Albert Park, but other tracks could create chaos. Despite the Grand Prix, Sunday's St Kilda Collingwood match and Moomba, buses will replace trains on parts of the Lilydale, Belgrave and Alamein lines Saturday and Sunday because of long-planned critical maintenance, adding to GP organisers' stress.
When we were planning for the event, we had a lot of contingencies in place for a lot of potential problems. A global conflict in the Middle East wasn't one of them.
Charter planes arrive tomorrow with F1 staff from Europe.
Good morning, everyone.
Organisers confident they'll break last year's event crowd record of 465,000. As for the overall record holder, Silverstone in England,
it's a temptation to go for Silverstone's 500. They're 500 flat, which tells you they've completely made that up, but they're 500.
The race for the title's intoxicating.
Oscar's not talking about the GP, rather footy for Channel 7's season opener.
You've got to keep yourself on track. The pressure to perform, intense.
Less intense, his Aussie online dictionary.
Ripper, something is really, really good.
And a ripper result, a victory on Sunday.
And I know me and about 140,000 other fans will be cheering for that very outcome.
And he's about to be swamped at his first public appearance of this GP in the city. Nick McCallum, 7 News.
Stargazers are in for a big treat tonight. Meteorologist Jane Bunn joins us now. Jane, will this evening's condition make it possible to see the blood moon?
Well, for some of us, conditions are absolutely perfect, Mitch. While the city remains shrouded in cloud all afternoon, the Mornington Peninsula and Geelong cleared to this bright sunshine. That'll be a great spot for seeing tonight's total lunar eclipse when the moon passes through the Earth's shadow between about 10 and 11 p.m. It should peak around 10 10:30. Rug up though, we've lost that humid air from Queensland, so it feels cooler than it is. During the eclipse, 17 should feel like about 13. Tomorrow's weather looks very similar to today, with cloud lingering over the city. But if you're after warmer sunshine, Thursday is the day. I'll have full details after sport. Mitch.
OK, thank you very much, Jane. The unfolding situation in the Middle East is set to impact everything from supermarkets to super balances. We'll break it down next. Also ahead on 7 News, Nancy Guthrie's emotional tribute to her missing mum. See the moment the Clintons were grilled over links to a sex trafficker, and the new cancer-busting benefits of being a vegetarian. The fallout from the Middle East is steadily spreading across the globe, and Australia is far from immune. In addition to rising fuel costs, we're now being warned of potential interest rate hikes and inflated grocery prices.
Drivers lining up to top up before petrol prices rise as the RBA governor warns there could be more pain on the way.
A supply shock of this nature, for example, could add to inflation pressures.
Michelle Bullock says it's too early to tell how the Iran conflict will impact our economy, but admits inflation and interest rates could stay higher for longer.
Events are moving rapidly and there are different ways that this can play out.
The fallout is already being felt on global oil markets. Here, wholesale regular unleaded has jumped 5.5 cents a litre since Saturday. Diesel, 5 cents.
What happens in the Middle East in the next few days and weeks will be critical.
Australia enters this period of great instability, very well prepared. There is no need to rush to the service station and fill up.
But that's exactly what some Australians are doing.
The price is going to go up.
I'm just coming in because I saw the line-up and, war's going on.
Economists warn when fuel prices rise, it flows through the entire economy, impacting transport, groceries, goods and services, while disruption to global supply chains could cause further price pain.
I think that the air freight is the issue for immediate impact, but longer term is the sea freight, food, furniture, electronics, machinery, sporting equipment. Everything is pretty much imported.
If fuel prices rise and remain high, it'll make inflation even harder to control. The next interest rate decision is in a fortnight, with the door open for a back-to-back hike.
I'm not making a prediction about March, but it will be a live meeting.
While families struggle.
It's dire.
Georgia Holland, 7 News.
We have incredible new details tonight about the intelligence operation that led to the killing of Iran's supreme leader. He was tracked for years and Israel knew the exact moment to take him out. Here's Hugh Whitfeld.
Ayatollah Ali Khamenei wasn't in hiding. The CIA and Israel's Mossad intelligence service knew exactly where he'd be. Israel had hacked into Tehran's traffic cameras years ago. One camera in particular watched all the movements in the car park at Leadership House, the Ayatollah's HQ. Intelligence officers had built a pattern of life for drivers and security guards, knowing everything about them. The mobile phone networks were tapped too, and the CIA had a so-called human source on the ground, an asset feeding information. There was to be a meeting Saturday morning, the Supreme Leader and his advisors. America and Israel saw it as their chance to strike. Donald Trump gave the order while on board Air Force One, travelling to an event in Texas. Ali Khamenei and Iran's leadership were killed while they ate breakfast.
Hugh Whitfeld reporting. Savannah Guthrie has made an emotional return to her missing mother's home in Arizona, where police believe the 84-year-old was abducted a month ago. The US Today show host was seen embracing her sister and brother-in-law and laying down yellow flowers, later posting a photo of the growing floral tributes to Instagram with the caption, "Bring her home." Local investigators say they are definitely closer to finding Nancy Guthrie. And video of the Clinton depositions has been released, featuring over 9 hours of questioning on what they knew about Jeffrey Epstein. At one point, Hillary lost her cool when a congressman leaked a photo from the deposition to a Conservative influencer.
I'm done with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home.
This is just typical behaviour.
You will go off the record.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
So I would like to understand how that's permissible.
Republicans also asked her about UFOs and internet conspiracy theories. Bill Clinton was pressed on hot tub photos of him in the Epstein files. They've both denied any wrongdoing. Vegetarians are less likely to develop 5 major cancers, according to a study by Oxford University. Researchers analysed data from 1.8 million people and found lower risk of pancreatic, breast, prostate, kidney and blood cancers among those who avoid meat. They believe processed meat like ham and bacon are most likely the key culprits. However, vegetarians had higher rates of throat cancer and vegans a greater risk of bowel cancer. 40,000 school vouchers are up for grabs for Victorian parents to help out in the cost of living crunch. We'll have details next on 7 News. Also ahead, bumbling arsonists caught on camera with police hot on their heels. Cranky koalas face off in the middle of a Victorian street. And speaking of cranky, Chris Scott is furious with the AFL. We'll hear from him shortly in sport. 2 arsonists have been caught on camera almost botching a firebombing on Queensland's north coast. The masked attackers lit their explosives, but when they went to throw them through a broken window, they missed. They found their target on the second attempt. No one was injured, but the business was badly damaged and the arsonists are still on the run. To finance now, and Tim McMillan has the latest on the shockwaves from the war in the Middle East.
Hello. As you heard earlier, RBA Governor Michelle Bullock says it's too early to gauge the economic impacts of the war in the Middle East, but warns ongoing disruption to energy markets could pose a significant risk to inflation. So a March rate rise is now a genuine possibility. Energy costs are already spiking. In the UK, for example, gas prices have jumped more than 40% after Qatar, the world's largest producer of LNG, halted production. The oil price jumped again overnight as well. Tech infrastructure hasn't escaped the carnage either. Iranian missiles damaging 3 Amazon Web Services facilities, 2 in the UAE and another in Bahrain. The prospect of prolonged conflict weighed on the ASX today. 10 of 11 sectors finishing lower, investors piling back into coal. The Aussie dollar back above 71 US cents.
Now it's time for an update on Victoria's blood supply from Lifeblood. AB positive and plasma levels are in low supply this week, and other blood types are forecast to fall over coming days. Every day, almost 10,000 blood products are sent to hospitals around the country. Lifeblood needs a blood donation every 18 seconds to keep up with demand. Search blood supply or visit lifeblood.com.au to book your donation. A program to entice thousands of children off screens and into sport officially kicks off today. Get Active Victoria is giving parents $200 vouchers to help cut the cost of uniforms and registration fees.
It's a program to help young athletes stay on the ball.
Just like a fun sport, like you can play with your friends. It's entertaining too.
The state government today announcing Get Active Kids vouchers are up for grabs, offering eligible families $200 each to help with the cost of kids' sport.
Over 60% said that they wouldn't be able to participate in sport without these vouchers. Since this program began in 2020, there's been over 225,000 vouchers allocated.
The money can be used to offset the cost of 70 different sports.
To go against registration, memberships, equipment and uniforms.
For struggling families, the vouchers give children of all ages the chance to connect and compete. Today, putting the newly opened Bunn Sports Centre through its paces, it's the first vertical sporting facility in the country.
These courts are spectacular. When you have no land, there's only one option, and that's to go up.
Spread across 5 levels, offering basketball, netball, futsal, badminton and endless fun. 22,000 families accessed the vouchers last round, and that number is expected to double thanks to an extra $23 million in funding.
My dad taught me how to play basketball. I've been playing for about 6 years.
Giving thousands of budding champions a sporting chance. Tyra Stowers, 7 News.
A pair of koalas has taken their differences from the trees to the streets. The battle played out for several minutes before they seemingly resolved their troubles and scurried back up some trees. Experts say koalas fight to exert dominance and protect their territory and resources. Rebecca Maddern is back with Sport and Bet. Chris Scott has taken aim at the AFL.
Yeah, he's not happy about the handling of one of his young stars. Those details coming up next. Also, the Cats duo looking to boost their opening round chances. Battle lines drawn as the Swans embrace their main man while the Blues unveil a new look side. And an American sprint sensation to hit our shores for an Easter treat. Welcome back. Geelong coach Chris Scott has taken aim at the AFL over the handling of young midfielder Tanner Bruin, who was forced to sit out an entire year of football. While in a boost for the Cats, their two top stars will face the Suns on Friday night.
Searching for redemption after the heartbreak of September. But for one Cat, this off-season has been longer than ever. Tanner Bruin didn't play a single game last year, dragged through the courts and eventually cleared of all charges against him.
It's just fantastic for him to get out there and be able to concentrate on footy, after what is, one of the most egregious injustices I can think of in the game. So to put that behind him, I think is positive for everyone.
An opening round clash with Gold Coast just 3 days away. Chris Scott confirmed he'll have two of his stars back from injury. Bailey Smith recovering from a calf issue and Jeremy Cameron a quad.
We don't have a very high tolerance for pushing guys that aren't ready. So that Jeremy and Bailey will clearly be ready from a physical perspective and they'll play.
Brian Myers testing out a glove at training. He's unlikely to play.
He had surgery on the thumb. He's got the all clear to play, but just because he can play doesn't mean he should.
Last year's grand finalists not underestimating the new look Suns.
If you're coaching that team, I think rather than sort of thinking about what their biggest strengths are, the thing that would excite them is the lack of weaknesses. The Victorian team was pretty strong and it was basically the Gold Coast midfield. Plus the full forward and the full back as well. So strong all over the place.
Meanwhile, the Bulldogs head to Brisbane to take on the reigning premiers on Saturday, and they're yet to give their star forward Sam Darcy the green light to play. He was rested from their last practice match and will need to pass a fitness test later this week. The same goes for Bailey Dale, who's carrying a knee injury, while Riley Sanders has concussion and will miss the season opener, Beck.
OK, Kate Massey reporting live. Thank you. Well, the Blues have confirmed prize recruits Jagger Smith and Harry Dean will both debut in Thursday night's season opener against the Swans. But coach Michael Voss is playing down expectation ahead of the new year.
Two fresh faces in navy blue to make their debut.
Might surprise you the first one. Jagger actually got a game.
The much-hyped Jagger Smith to be joined by father-son draftee Harry Dean, who was delighted to tell his dad Peter.
I'm playing Thursday.
He's really impressed so far in the exposure that we've had with him.
Whether Jacob Wiedering is there to go head-to-head with Charlie Curnow is still to be determined, stepping up his training after fractured ribs.
Wait and see. Like I said, it's all leaning towards the positive. So we sort of put friendships aside and we go into combat against each other. And I'm sure there'll be some gamesmanship within that.
I know the Carlton fans, they've showed their dislike for him, but our Swannies fans, they absolutely love him. I don't want to put any pressure on him, but like a bit of a buddy presence, like he brings that.
Last year, the Blues went into the season with high hopes of being a genuine contender. Fast forward 12 months and it's completely changed.
Don't know what those expectations are because I don't really pay a hell of a lot of attention to them. We could have upwards of, 10, 11 new players from how we finished last year to how we're going to turn up this year. So how can you compare what happened 12 months ago when you've got that almost half your team?
Expectations tempered too at the Saints after their off-season recruiting drive.
I think we've seen that multiple times in sports that teams they drag in XYZ player and all of a sudden everyone goes, they're going to make it happen, which it's just not the case because it's a team sport.
It all starts on Sunday at the MCG in a massive clash with the Magpies. Tim Hipsley, 7 News.
Australian athletics has pulled off a massive coup with American sprint sensation Sha'Carri Richardson coming to Victoria. The Olympic and world champion will compete in the stall gift.
She's the biggest personality in women's athletics.
Oh, wow. Look out. She means business.
And she'll be front and centre at Australia's richest and oldest short distance carnival.
Not only does she create headlines on the track, she creates them off the track for all sorts of reasons. You never quite know what you're going to get.
Sha'Carri Richardson's 10.65 second 100 metre sprint is the 6th fastest time in female sprint history. She won silver in the individual 100 at Paris and stormed home for gold in the 4x100.
If she brings her A game to stall, we are in for something we will never forget.
But it's her off-track persona that makes her box office.
I think it's safe to say we've never seen anything quite like it.
Whether you like it, whether you dislike it, you're going to be watching.
She was disqualified from the 2020 Olympics after testing positive to cannabis and has been arrested for speeding and an alleged assault of her boyfriend Christian Coleman, a fellow sprinter who will also compete at stall.
He's one of 2 men that have actually finished in front of Usain Bolt in a 100 metre global final.
But it's her signature acrylic nails, outspoken behaviour and 4.3 million Instagram followers that bring an unprecedented spotlight.
I hope she brings her full personality. I think it's going to be so exciting. I really, really want to see her obviously make that Easter Monday.
Xander Maguire, 7 News.
All right, she's had a colourful past, granted, but she is such a headline act. That'll be awesome.
That's going to be great for stall.
Yeah, they won't know what's in them.
That's fantastic. I bet they can't wait. Thank you very much, Beck. Jane's back now with the forecast. And Jane, how's it looking midweek?
Oh, Mitch, very similar to today, but if you're after warmer sunshine, then Thursday looks great. And on tonight's bright side, a challenge on the green after Feb makes a lawn bowls boast. Hello again. Tomorrow looks very similar to today. After a lengthy stretch of Queensland-like humidity, it dissipated overnight. We dropped to 15.8 in the city. That's the coolest it's been since late last week. We peaked at 20, and while the city remained grey all through the day, it's a very different story further south. Not a cloud to be seen around Geelong or on the Mornington Peninsula, as the line between cloudy and sunny cuts right across the Melbourne area. Our temperatures aren't that different though, all in the low 20s. The last of the widespread heavy rain, shown in yellow, dissipated over New South Wales early this morning. Today we've had just a little bit of wet weather in the eastern half of Victoria and up in the far north, generally less than a millimetre. Much of the west is in sunshine and mild. Heavy storms are fired up west of Sydney and through there, nowhere near us. Our severe weather is over. The low that brought that weakened earlier today. That is the line between humid air from Queensland and dry air from the south. And that demarcation line will stay just out to our east, putting us on the dry side. Instead, we have high pressure, generally to our west, keeping us on the mild side, with the tip of a cold front from time to time. All up, we had significant totals from the low, 50 to 100 millimetres for a huge part of the state, more than 100 in the northwest. That's incredibly unusual, more than 4 times the average. Anything blue here is at least double the usual rain. Is there more? Not really. The outlook for the next week is on the dry side. Around the nation tomorrow, light morning showers in Brisbane, then sunny. The risk of showers and storms in Sydney and Canberra. Warmer in Hobart and Adelaide, both mostly sunny. The heat continues in Perth. To Victoria, the risk of showers and storms about the eastern third of the state. It looks dry for the rest. Areas of cloud in the south slowly breaking up and just along the Murray. Closer in, the cloud sweeps back through again overnight and it slowly clears eastwards during the afternoon. There's local drizzle under the cloud in the morning, otherwise all dry. The city should be very similar to today, about 21 under the cloud. Sunny breaks may appear later on. To the 8-day outlook, Thursday is looking great. Early cloud, then bright sunshine, letting temperatures warm. I'm expecting about 25. 23 as we go through Friday, a bit of cloud from time to time. The cloudiest next day is Saturday, about 21, breaking up later, so very similar to today and tomorrow. Nearly had zeros all the way through. We might have a change next Wednesday. So at 21 tomorrow, grey skies for much of the day before sunny breaks later. Now to tonight's bright side. He's been a star in footy and radio, but does Brendan Favola have a future in lawn bowls? Fev trash-talked the sport on Fox FM, saying he could make the Commonwealth Games team. But today, he met his match with gold medalist Karen Murphy.
It's literally just getting it close to that. That's all it is. Just getting that one close to that. Easy.
It's just not that hard. But I'm real bad at it.
So could humble pie be on the menu when scores are revealed in tomorrow's breakfast show? To be fair though, Mitch, Karen Murphy also has 5 World Championships to her name, as well as that Games medal.
Not a bad record.
That's great.
Very good indeed. Thank you, Jane. And that's the way it is this Tuesday, the 3rd of March. Thanks for your company. For now, from the 7 News team, good night.
The 7 News app will give you the news you want every minute of every day, including breaking news alerts. Download the 7 News app now.